Hi, this is Benjamin Morgan. This is a quick screenwriting tutorial for Writing 243 at Eastern Oregon University. Today we're going to go over some basic formatting issues that will help you with your final. This is Inglourious Basterds, written by Quentin Tarantino, obviously. The thing with reading great screenplays by the greats is that often these are the guys and women who take the most creative liberties. Quentin tends to be more traditional in his formatting, so I am going to use the screenplay, but just be aware that oftentimes the really great screenwriters will do things that are unconventional, and as a beginning writer I would strongly recommend that you not do that, that you try and be as traditional as possible, unless you really are doing an unconventional film. Anyway, he hand wrote his title page. He has a chapter, table of contents. Do not do that. This is something only Quentin does, so I would not recommend it. But here you have the scene heading. You must have whether it's an exterior or interior, the location, it's a dairy farm, and whether it's day or night. Those do vary. It can be morning, you could say afternoon, you can say continuous, as is carrying from the previous scene. You can say same, like it's happening at the same time, but you must have these three elements: interior or exterior, the location, and the time of day. These are called action lines. They're also referred to as prose. You'll notice that the great screenwriters typically have 2 to 3 lines. Sometimes they'll get down into 4 lines. Every once in a while you'll see 5, but rarely will you see longer than 5 lines. You try to have 2 to 3 lines. The key is that these are action lines. These will detail the action that we see on the screen. You're not going to get into your actors' heads. It's not a novel. You're not talking about anything that happened previously. It's only what we see on the screen. So if you read these action lines, you see this is what's happening. There's a French farmer and he brings an axe, and it's very specific and simple. If you want to bore your readers to death and make sure that your screenplay ends up in the garbage can, then write really detailed novel-like action lines. Otherwise, keep it simple and keep it moving. So this is the character's name, obviously. It appears in caps, and when you use Final Draft and Celtx, it formats this automatically. So you have this in caps, and then the dialogue is formatted like so. Now, parentheticals, I believe there's one right here. Parentheticals, you really should only use those when there's a specific. So he's talking to this person, and you need to delineate that so that we don't get confused that he's talking to someone else. But I notice it in a lot of beginner screenplays. Every piece of dialogue has a parenthetical, and what you're typically doing is over-directing. And we just don't need that information. You know, size, looks heavy-hearted. You just don't leave that to the actors and to the director to figure out. You'll also notice Quentin Tarantino is writing this for himself. He's going to direct everything that he writes now. And you don't see a ton of screen direction. You just don't see, pan left and tilt up, dolly shot. He's keeping it simple because he's writing this for the actors. They're going to read it and they want to keep it moving. So lines of dialogue can go as long as they need to be, but keep it simple. It's good to have to mix it up. A good screenplay, you can tell on the page there's a good combination of dialogue and action lines. Again, as we pan down here, you see these are all 2 to 3 line action lines. Something else to note is that action lines are written in the present tense. He kisses her hand, not he kissed her hand. He kisses her hand, then continues. Again, you are you're writing what we're seeing on the screen. You also do not have any dialogue in an action line. You're describing what we see on the scene. So if it's dialogue, it belongs down here in dialogue. So I've gone a few pages here and I haven't seen a single parenthetical. This was just a continued up here. But this is a great scene. I'm having a hard time not reading this scene while I'm doing this for you. But you guys should pick up the script. Any Quentin Tarantino script is going to be a great read. You won't be able to put it down. There's a parenthetical. It's probably the first I've seen in 5 pages. You can underline occasionally. If you're really trying to make a point, you can bold or underline a phrase. Again, would not recommend it. Keep it simple and keep it moving. That's really about it. You will notice that there are specific character actions to take place in these scenes. Quentin Tarantino's so good about giving his actors something to do, so they look busy and it looks like an actual scene that you would see in real life. So that's about it. That's all I think we've covered. If any of this is new to you, I recommend that you go back and preview some of the tutorials that I've already recorded and posted. I did do a final draft tutorial so you can see how to write a script. I just wanted to go over some basic formatting issues that beginning screenwriters typically struggle with. Something else real quickly, you will notice that when you introduce either a character, a Nazi soldier, to other Nazi soldiers, or when you introduce something that you're trying to highlight, like let's see, splashes, the farmer splashes. So if there's an action that you're trying to highlight, the sound of engines, or if there is a prop, then those things should be in bold. Once you've introduced a character, here we're introducing, Perrier, I guess I don't know if that's a joke about Perrier water, but whatever. Then once you've introduced them, the next time that they appear in the action lines, they will not be in caps. So to review again, you use caps in the action lines when you introduce a character for the first time, and also when you're trying to highlight a prop or sound effect that you want to call attention to, so that your prop person and your sound mixer know that those things need to be featured. So that's about it. Like I said, refer to previous YouTube videos that I have posted in the assignment section. Otherwise, you can email me if you have questions. As I've noted, I would strongly recommend that you go back and read another screenplay or two. Reading Oscar-winning screenplays is really a good way to go because they are well written. Like I said, just be advised that sometimes they're going to take some creative liberties with their formatting. All right, happy writing. Thanks.